Hello, everyone, and welcome to PyLadies Dublin. We missed you all. I know we didn't have a PyLadies in March because of St. Patrick's Day. I know everyone is staying in, but I decided just to give us just keep the tradition and just have a month off in March. So now we're back this month and we have a couple of great speakers. But first, before we go to that, I have a few announcements as normal. And I'm presenting from a different laptop, so I will be sort of slightly rude and turn to the side while I'm trying to scroll through my announcements. So first of all, I want to say thanks to again Dublin Maker who I'm glad that I'm one of the main people helping them run the Maker Festival this year. They've been so generous and letting us use Zoom for our PyLadies every single month. So amazing stuff. And myself and the team have been working hard, and we just launched our open call. So a bit of a plug there. For any kind of makers or crafters, the open call closes on May the 4th, and the actual Maker Festival is going to be all virtual, and it's going to be held on Saturday, June the 19th to Sunday, June the 20th. And also, I kept the Imagilabs kind of discount code there. They said that we can have it as long as we want, which is amazing. So if you haven't checked out, they were our guest speakers back in January. And you should check out their shop, and there's a discount code. So have a look, and any questions, just let me know and I'll pass it on to them. So our main talks this evening, I just put the YouTube link up there for future reference. So because the videos will be available after this evening's event. So first of all, we have Alina, who will give a talk in bias in NLP using linguistics and computer science to improve AI ML fairness. Followed by Lais, who'll be talking about automating social media content with Python and Mako. And then we'll, depending on time, we'll see how we get on with the Q&A. So here is the kind of the running order. So yeah, that's me doing the welcomes and announcements. The talks. So first talk will be about half an hour by Alina, followed by Lais will be about 10 to 15 minutes. And then we will see how we get on. So do ask those questions in the live chat, and we will ask the speakers after their talks. So some of the announcements coming up. EuroPython 2021 is going to be online this year, if people don't know already. And they are looking for volunteers. So check out, they have a workgroup overview. I will share out this CryptPad. Normally, I think I have it linked off the Meetup page, this evening's Meetup page. I cannot remember, but I will send it out, and I'll update the Meetup page if it's not there. So there's information, including a blog post about volunteering for EuroPython. Their tickets just got announced as well. So there's various different types of tickets. As you can see, I did a screenshot of their ticketing page. And of course, there is financial aid for those who need a bit of who find that they might be able to attend it's a whole week, and the tickets are not, to us, to many might seem cheap, or some might seem dear, but they're trying to make it accessible for everyone. So if you need help to attend this event, which is week long, it's amazing. The only thing that the free tickets doesn't include is the training sessions, but you get access to the conferences and the interaction with a lot of people, so in the sprints. I think that's right. If I'm incorrect, later on, Lace can actually jump in and say, "Vicky, that is not right information." But as far as I know, that is the right information because I'm also on the financial aid work group. So hopefully, I'm saying the right stuff. I mentioned Open Dublin Maker Open Call. Right? I won't say that again, but I'll leave it up there. And then some other kind of information to share. So my friends from Dogpatch asked me to share this NDRC Accelerator fund. Their applications close on May the 2nd, so you can check out that link, the ndrc.ie link. I saw this in my inbox just recently. If you don't haven't heard of the Head First into Books by O'Reilly's, you should check it out. There's our good friend Paul Barry's book is in there. He's so check that out, and it's for a good cause as well. And for anyone, I keep saying that every single month, if anyone is on the dev.to platform, it'd be nice to connect. Be nice to see if you kind of post articles and also share your post with PyLadies because we're there as well. And some of the folks that I found that are from Ireland so far is, beside myself, is Chuck and Lace. So please, if you're on dev, let me know and we'll connect. We are looking for. Oh, I should really update that. We are looking for speakers from August onwards, actually, but we are looking for Lightning Talk speakers for May, June, and July. We do have we're actually quite organized the next few months. So we have our next PyLadies will be about scraping Wikipedia using SparkQL and DBpedia by Nandita Roy. She was one of our previous speakers. And in June, we have Lace back again about newbies, not nobody. How can you contribute to communities even if you're new? And then in July, we have Bojan talking about PyLady or talking about Fast API, Lambdas, PyTest, another cool thing. So AWS stuff if you're into that. So check out the Meetup. It's all on Meetup page. On our Meetup pages there. So check those out. As I said, there are slots free for Lightning Talk or a short demo. So 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Send them on. Just either email me at dublin@pyladies.com or you can submit it. Where is that? There's a type form up here at this type form, PyLadies type form here on this link. So I think that, oh yeah, and Python Ireland, of course, Python Ireland has a meetup every single month, and their one is on Wednesday, May the 12th. And if ladies have time, she can tell you what's on at their events. So the other thing is there is a lot kind of I decided not to put a ton of events here because you can check out I'll put this link in as well. I just curate all the kind of diversity and tech events around that are Irish hosted. So you can see there's including my one, but there's lots of other ones happening the rest of this month. So I'll send on that link. It's already linked off the crypt pad. So if you're curious and see what's happening, I've curated all the kind of Irish hosted events, especially diversity and tech events is here. But I also curate a lot of the Irish tech events in general on this page as well. So back to our main event. Sorry for turning my head like that. So our very first talk is with Alina, and I will just put on a holding screen while we switch over. So we will be right back.
Mhm. Okay. Hello, everyone. So my name is Alina, and I'm very happy to see you at this talk. So today I'm gonna tell you a little bit about bias in NLP, and a little bit about my journey of how I got to be the data scientist and work in that field. But before I start, I really want to encourage you to grab a cup of coffee or something else if you're up for it, and get really cozy, because I'm hoping this talk will be inspiring and calming, and we'll get to know each other and share some insights with each other. If we were in dog patch labs or in any other physical space, I would be chatting to everyone, every one of you. So please feel free to introduce yourself in the YouTube chat, ask any questions or anything you want to share, really. So I want to start with a little introduction about me, because I think my journey is not straightforward. And I remember myself in the audience of PyLadies, I think 2 or 3 years back, and I was listening to the speakers and I was thinking to myself, will I be able to work on similar projects ever in my life or not, because of my background? And now I know that background, no matter what it is, it will not stop you from getting where you want to be. And I just want to show you by example. So I first graduated with a bachelor's degree in English literature and linguistics back in Russia. I am passionate about a language communication skill, and I think I will not get rid of this passion, whether I want it or not. So it's always with me. I started working when I was 19, and I was tutoring English to tech and business professionals for 5 years, and to everyone for 7 years. I think my youngest student was 6, and my oldest student was 98. So that's a big scope. I really love teaching languages to people. I still do it, but probably just 1 or 2 classes per month. The students I cannot get rid of. Yeah, I also had 2 years of working in a great team, building the national TV program, and I got to work as a scriptwriter, editor, and interviewer, and that experience taught me a lot. But as you can see, we're nowhere near data science just yet. And the first time I was really exposed to kind of IT and tech was on my 4th year of my bachelor's, when I founded an ed tech startup. I was about 20 years old back then, and I founded with 2 friends from the IT department, really smart and cool guys. I was not allowed near the code except for the CSS part, but that was enough to interest me in knowing more. And I think that's where my journey really began. In 2017, I moved to Dublin. I didn't have any job offers or any plans. I was just fascinated with Irish mythology and literature I got exposed to during my bachelor's. And when I moved, I started looking for a job. I was very lucky to find a job at Urban Brewing. Initially, it was supposed to be something of a receptionist / waiter, but on the second day of doing that, everybody, including me, realized that I was not built for that. It's a very hard job, and I was looking for something else. And the team and the owners of Urban Brewing were very open and very supportive of me trying something else. And the first thing I started doing was actually writing blogs and taking pictures, because I had a DSLR camera, I had the portfolio, and I started documenting the journey of this restaurant / brewery since the day of the opening. Sorry, that was not supposed to happen. Change of slides. Yes, so I started documenting that and started doing digital marketing and analytics, and that went really well. And I really liked doing that, and I stayed at place for about 3 years, 2.5 of which were spent on doing marketing analytics and digital analytics. At the same time, I was spending time with my friends, and it just happened so that all of them were working in tech companies, and I got exposed to a lot of tech. I was in and out of coding sessions, some gaming sessions, and basically meetings where I learned a lot about the tech field, tech jobs, and I started developing interest towards machine learning and data science. And I think approximately at the same time started considering masters. And I was lucky enough to actually get a master's in data analytics. I graduated in 2019, and that master's was a great experience. I learned a lot and met a lot of people, and I will forever be grateful for those times. And I think 5 or 6 months after graduation, I started working at Opening, which really quickly was acquired by iSIMS, where I work at the moment. I'm really happy about that. I love my team and the projects that I'm working on. Before we get to bias in NLP, I really wanted to share with you the work that I had to do on myself to overcome the personal bias that I had in me while going through all this journey. So at first, I wasn't sure I could keep the job at Irwin and even stay in Ireland. I was having a lot of doubts. I was very uncertain of my future, and I was actually planning to pack my bags at any moment. But my manager at the time, he just told me, show us what you have in mind, and if you like it, you can keep doing that, and if not, you can try again. That was very motivating thing for them to say, because they were not looking for a person who would do digital marketing or some sort of data analytics, but they were open to me trying, and they were really accepting. And when they saw that it was really useful for them, they were even more supportive. The other thing was when I was uncertain about doing masters. It was very difficult to find a master's program without the background in sciences, and a lot of colleges would say they will not accept someone with background in linguistics. I started doubting myself, and I just told my friends that I'm not sure I could do it. And they told me that they do not have a special, I don't know, scientific brain cell or something that I do not have. And most of it is just patience. Most of the transitioning to a new field and most of the, getting to work with data is just patience. And my friends, they don't have more of it than me. So I have all the chances, and so does everyone else. And the last thing I think is my favorite. It's what my college told me. So I went to one of the colleges that I was considering, and I asked them, would I fail without background in IT in this program? And a professor who was there, who I later found out was one of the funniest, smartest, and most intimidating lecturers in the college, he told me, like, you could fail too much whether or not you have a background in IT, so it doesn't really matter. And yeah, so there was no way back from that point. And I learned that sometimes the hardest bias to mitigate is the bias you have in your own mind. And once you sort that out, everything else is a little bit easier. So before we shift to bias and NLP, one last thing I wanted to go through is just measuring the bias together with you, the personal bias. Feel free to respond in the chat or just to yourself. But let's have a look at these questions. So have your own bias ever stopped you from doing something you wanted to do? Have you ever done something well that was not expected of you? And I'm pretty sure everyone can say yes to this, because awesome things are done by regular people usually. And if something doesn't work out, can you try something else? And usually the answer is yes. So you really have to work on the bias, even if you think you don't have it. Sometimes it can be so deeply ingrained in society, in your surroundings, that you might just take it for, and it needs some work. And once you do it, everything is easier. So once you've sorted out the personal bias, you can shift to sorting out bias in NLP. So what is actually bias in NLP? As you know, there's a number of tools available for various tasks related to language processing. It can be sentiment analysis, spam detection, or automated speech recognition. Anything related to text and speech is related to natural language processing. And the majority of the tools used for NLP trained using unrepresentative data. And this may lead to unintended biases, altering the results and discriminating against various groups of people. The most common bias discussed these days, both in industry and academia, gender bias and racial bias. But I should share with you that there are many, many more types of biases that require attention and that can lead to undesired results. The first bias project I got to work on was detecting and mitigating native speaker bias in sentiment analysis. So this was during my master's. So I got this idea from working a lot on teaching languages to other people, and I noticed that no matter how good a person is at speaking foreign language, they will always use it in a different way from what a native speaker would do. And I paid closer attention to that, and I tried to develop this idea into something more. And in the end, as a result, I was the first person to identify this type of bias, native speaker bias. So my publication is the first one speaking about this issue. And this issue could be described as a bias against English texts written by speakers observed in lexicon-based and corpus-based sentiment analysis tools. So if you use Python, you probably are familiar with Vader sentiment analysis or text blob sentiment analysis. And if you're using R, then probably you're familiar with sentiment R. The native speaker bias, I think the example of that could be just cognates. Cognates are pairs of words that have the same etymology, but they're used in different languages. And if the words are related, the meanings are different. Just to give you an example, German speakers are more likely to use the word weariness, which has Germanic origin, when they speak English. And French speakers are more likely to go for the word fatigue in the same context, in the same sentence, just because fatigue has a French origin. And sentiment analysis will not treat these words in the same way. And for example, Vader will give fatigue a more negative assessment. So the word fatigue will receive a negative label, whereas weariness will receive a neutral label. And this is the problem with sentiment analysis when it comes to non-native speakers. So the texts that are different only in the choice of a cognate might get different sentiment scores, even when no difference in meaning was implied by the author of the text. This happens because cognates have either different scores in lexicons or are not present in them at all. And this can be fixed by updating the sentiment analysis corpora. But this solution only works when you know the language, native language of the people who wrote the text you're going to analyze. So you either need to have the labels already or use some NLI tools to do that. After working on sentiment analysis bias, I joined iCIMS, and in iCIMS, I work primarily on measuring and mitigating bias in word embeddings and measuring and mitigating bias in ASR. Word embeddings I used for various tasks these days, and even though they're very, very common, they're still prone to bias and discrimination. And unfortunately, there is no single way to mitigate the bias. And for every specific case, you need to perform various experiments and choose different methodologies to mitigate the bias. So if you're not familiar with word embeddings, I think the easiest way to imagine what it is to think of a map where each city is identified by a word, for example, London, but at the same time, each city or each point on the map really has some coordinates. So this very point has the word descriptor and the numeric descriptor. And the same thing happens when we talk about word embeddings. So word embeddings are a way to represent words by giving each word coordinates on a vector space. Embeddings are often used in NLP tasks, and distance between words can have different unintended bias in them that affects the outcome of the model or the task. The most common way to measure the bias is to create specific subspaces. Creating subspaces means that you split your vector space into 2 or 3 or 4 parts, and you identify the anchor for each of subspace. So, for example, if you're looking for racial bias, you will create race subspaces, and if you're looking for gender bias, you will create gender subspaces. So one of your subspaces will be female, one of your spaces will be male, or in some cases you will have more than 2 subspaces for gender. The challenge with all this is that even if you find the bias, it is very hard to mitigate the bias in word embeddings because all the words are connected. It's some sort of a net, and if you move one of the words, essentially move all the other words, and you change the connections between not only the 2 or 3 or 4 words that you needed to change, you change the connections everywhere. And this can introduce even more bias than you started with. Now, if you look at the slide on the right, you will see what word embeddings look like in a simplified way. Usually the words with similar meanings are closer to each other than words that have no similarity in meanings. So dog and cat will be quite close because they're both pets, but then kitchen will be closer to cat than to dog or to something else because kitten is a small cat, it's a baby cat. When we say we see bias in embeddings, what we mean is that the distances between words are different from what we want them to be. So, for example, here on the bottom picture, we can see the word man and woman. They're far from each other, and that's fine. And then we have king and queen, and queen is closer to woman, and king is closer to man, and this is what we want because the male ruler is king and the female ruler is queen, so this is fine. But the problem happens when we see something like, for example, manager closer to man or to woman rather than being in between these two words. If the neutral word, if the word we want to be neutral, like manager or doctor or something similar, is closer to one of the words that represent gender, we can say we have gender bias. And if it's closer to one particular race, we can say it has sexual bias. Another type of bias that I'm working on is bias in ASR. So ASR is automated speech recognition, and they help transform speech into text. This can be used in a variety of contexts. The simplest one I can give example of is just YouTube captions. So when you're watching a video, you can click on the captions and the captions will be generated automatically for you, sometimes correct, sometimes with several mistakes or typos. But in any case, this is done using ASR tool. They're also used to power digital voice assistants, driverless cars, and some other technologies that we use and we like. And the problem with ASR is that ASR tools perform better on more standard accents and on male speech rather than female speech. And this is very difficult to fix. Now, how do we find this? We look at the word error rate. And once we can collect the word error rate and some characteristics of the speaker, we can determine whether or not we have any bias. And this is where the problem lies. It's very difficult to collect the characteristics of the speakers that can be useful enough to measure or mitigate bias in ASR. One of the DPR. And another difficulty is in labeling the accents, as it requires linguistic background and expertise in phonetics. So let's say you have 10 recordings and 5 of them are in standard English and 5 of them are not, but you don't know what type of accent or dialect the speaker has. Maybe he's a non-native speaker and his native language is Ukrainian and he speaks English, and he has some Ukrainian traits in his pronunciation and syntax. Or maybe it's Cockney, maybe it's some other variety of British English. When it comes to ASR, you need to be very specific, and usually labeling the speech is only possible after training in phonetics. So when we look at the results of the word error rate distribution, typically what we see in any tool, no matter how good it is the variety of performance on different accents. Here you see how YouTube automatic caption in various dialects. Speakers from California, Georgia, Scotland, New England, New Zealand, they all get different scores, even though all of them are native speakers. And here you can see word error rate distribution by type of speech and gender. So one of these theories tested very often in ASR bias is that changing the pitch tone would solve some of the problems, but in reality it's more complex than that and depends on specific data you have. Sometimes it works, but more often than not it works in conjunction with some other method that needs to be identified during the experiments. Now, this is kind of the intro I wanted to give you to the world of bias in NLP and personal bias that might prevent you from trying it out. So I encourage you ignore the personal bias and just go for it if you're interested in algorithmic fairness. And if you want to know more, you can definitely reach out to me. And if you want even more than that, you can check out the material created by Joy Wolamwini, who is a great AI fairness leader. She has a lot of content. She has a documentary on PBS, TED Talk, and Open Mind talk available on YouTube for free. And if you are interested in some details about the projects I mentioned today, you can check out my paper on bias and sentiment analysis following that link. You can learn more about the code of ethics that we practice in ICE on our company blog. And if you want to know about the paper that was an explosion in the world of bias that did everything, the Big Bang, you can check the paper "Man is to Computer Programmer as Woman is to Homemaker," a revolutionary paper that led to a lot of research, a very interesting one. And this is how you can reach out to me. I'm on Twitter all the time. I never tweet, but I'm always there. I'm also always on Telegram. And if you speak Russian, you can check out my blog on One Way or Another. It's a blog about communication skills and languages. It's in Russian, but everyone is welcome. And that's it for me. I'll stay in the chat and answer your questions if you have any. I have here, which I will enjoy listening to the next talk. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Alina. So I'll switch over to delay. So we will have Q&A after. So give a sec, and we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. So I hope everyone can hear me properly. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much again, another PyLadies Day. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about automation, Python automation, and Mako. So it's a very short talk, and it's not as inspiring as awesome as Alina's ones, but I hope you can learn something today. So with no further ado, let's do this. So just a little bit about me. So my name is Lais. Yeah, I forgot to put my name on it, but well, it's fine. I work as a developer advocate for open teams. I am a student. I'm on my final year undergrad of IT. Actually, my final project is due in 2 weeks, so I'm very excited to be finishing. My background is in civil engineering and environmental engineering, and I do a bunch of volunteering around, as Vicky told us all. So I'm a member of Python Ireland. We're also volunteering for EuroPython. I am a co-founder of a Python conference called Pyjamas. That is basically a Python conference where everyone presents wearing their pajamas, and it's 24 hours online, and it's a lot of fun. And I also have my podcast with Chuck Ting Ho, developer advocate for Terminus DB, called Meet Py. And I also volunteer for the YR Foundation. There's a Polish foundation for dissemination of the R programming language. So all that, you have absolutely no idea how many Twitter accounts I have and how many times I wake up on a Sunday thinking, oh, today is volunteering day. And I just have this loads and loads and loads of social media content to write. So yes, exactly. So loads of social media posts and blog posts and meetup events and things like that. And some of those have events every week. So they can get a little bit, it can get a little bit of stuff in the middle. So the solution for me to get my Sundays back was then automation. So I skipped a slide. So yeah, so for one of those events, I needed to write blog posts, and then I needed to write 4 tweets, a LinkedIn post, a Facebook post, a YouTube post, and also a Meetup post. And keep in mind that all of those are like the same information, the same links, the same dates, the same names. And it was taking me at a certain point, it was taking me around 2.5 to 3 hours every single week just to copy this information everywhere and just put them on the different places. Then I decided to write a little bit of code, a little bit of Python with a Mako template to generate it, to make the automation work. And after automation, my entire work was taking 20 minutes because the only thing I needed to write was one YAML file with 20 lines. So I will show you this right now is PyCharm time. So let me see here how I can get out of the screen. Here we go. Can you see PyCharm or no?
Yes.
Cool. Perfect. So here we go then. So we have here PyCharm and we have this output folder empty. And we have here all the templates. And this is your lovely YAML file. And then a Python file. So let's have a look at this Python file. So basically the Python file uses Mako, YAML, and a parser, takes in the YAML file and all the variables they're hard-coded into the YAML file, and parses it and generates the data. So that's basically it. I have a try catch here. If it tries to write the file and it can't write the file, it goes straight into fail to render. That's basically it. And then your templates, for me, since I needed to write the 6 different types of things, I wrote 6 different templates. So I have a template for a blog post, where you'd have the name of the speaker, and then you'd have their website or their credentials, then the link that goes to YouTube, and the special details. Then LinkedIn, the same story. Meetup, exact same story. Twitter, then the exact same story, but then I separated the Twitter into days, because then I would know exactly which day that I would have to paste the stuff there. Then we go to the YAML file. So the YAML file then is going to be the one where I'm going to detail all the variables. So here we have speaker name. You can see we have speaker name here. We have Twitter handle here, and we have description here. So if I go here, I have speaker name, Twitter handle, the bio that was there as well. And then this is the only thing that I would then need. This is the YAML file that I would then need to write every week, because these are the specific information. So then after this is done, the only thing I needed to do was to YAML file, no, and run this Python file with the YAML file argument. So this is run, and then suddenly you can go here into outputs if everything works. And you can see here now that I have the same files that I had on templates, I have here on outputs. And if you go in, you can then see that now I have a markdown file with the specific variables here. So this reduced all the work that I had to do from 2.5 hours, 2 hours every week, to around 20 minutes. So then basically, and this is on GitHub. by the way. I have the link for you. If you go into my GitHub over there, you're going to see it on the front page. And if you don't, we also have the link going around. I believe Vicky posted on the channel as well. And if you can't find it, just send me a message. I can send it to you. But basically, if you want to use it, if you have anything that you do that you think that you could use something like this, the workflow that you have to go through is basically you create your templates. You decide what are the variables that need to be repeated everywhere. You populate your YAML with that text. Then you write the content that you want to. You run the script. Everything's going to be placed, and then you just relax because everything's going to be done. And so, well, that's it. It's quite short, as I told you, it was going to be quite short. And then I just have a few announcements here. So first of all, if you would like to follow our podcasts that are monthly now, you can go into meetpy.org and we have all the information there. We stream on Twitch every Friday, the last Friday of every month. Then we're also running 2 really cool events on PyCon US this year. We're running mentored sprints. It's basically an event for newbies that want to learn how to use GitHub and how to contribute to open source, how to properly make a pull request. We're mentoring people, so that's going to happen as part of the PyCon US. That is happening, I think it's at some point next month, maybe, or yes, May, exactly. And then Humble Data is kind of the same story. Humble Data is then for those who want to start their career on data science, and they're not really sure where to start or how to run pandas or how to use a Jupyter notebook. Humble Data. I've been part of Humble Data twice. I've been part of my first time at Humble Data was as a mentee, and then the following year I decided to be part again as a mentor this time, and both times were so much fun. And then, as Vicky mentioned before, I'm also part of Python Island. And Python Island next month is going to have Boyan. I think it's going to be here in June, in PyLadies Dublin in June. He's going to be with us next month, talking about, I think it's machine learning as well. I'm not 100% sure. And then, of course, EuroPython. If you'd like to volunteer, if you'd like to help, and even if you don't think you can volunteer throughout the days until the conference, if you want to be part of the conference, if you want to help in the conference, just get in contact. It's going to be amazing to have you there. And that's my Twitter contact and my GitHub contact as well. So if you'd like to get in contact, just send me a message. And yeah, that's it. That's me for today.
Oh, phew. I'm gonna just wow. Okay, I thought I was busy. I was just like, wow. Like that's why I say people. I was like on chat and saying, like he's doing amazing community stuff, which you can hear about in a couple of months' time, I think. Yeah, isn't it? A couple of months' time. But amazing. Yeah, thanks for the talk. Thank you, Alina. Thank you, Elise, for both your talks. There's just so much information between the both of you. So, Lei, I know I've been talking on the chat channel a lot on the YouTube, kind of live chat. But did you see any questions along the way in between my comments there?
I saw a few comments, but I didn't see any questions.
So anyone have any questions? We have a few minutes. We have about 10 minutes, so if people want to ask. So it's a bit of a delay. We will wait and we will keep talking. So I will scroll back. So let me see. Oh yes, right at the top. I think
I have a question for Alina actually.
Go.
Is it okay if I just fire away?
Oh, go fire away.
Okay. Well, so first of all, Alina, it was awesome. Like, thank you very much. It was really
Thanks so much.
Amazing slides as well. So cute, so adorable. And
Your slides are the top slides, that's for sure. So you're the winner of the slides.
it's not a competition. No. But if it was, I still think you would win. Anyhow, well, I was very happy to hear that you worked on Urban Brewery, because I worked at Eli Wine Bar right beside it for 4 years. And yeah, that was exactly the question I was going to ask you. How is it for you to transition from well, I'm on the floor, I don't really know what I'm doing, though everyone knows I shouldn't be here, I don't know what I'm doing, to going into marketing? Because I've tried to do the same. I was on the floor and I decided that I wanted to do maybe something a little bit more related to computers with the company, and they were like, not really. They were not really supportive. So how is this for you? How was that transition?
I think it was really smooth because I had some projects that I was working on in Russia. So I had to do some translation to kind of show the team what I can do. But the startup that I had while I was in Russia was fully digital, and we had to do a lot of digital marketing for it. So I just basically had to shift to the hospitality sector for that job and do marketing in the hospitality sector. But a lot of stuff like SEO, content planning, all that stuff, it was the same. So that was pretty smooth. And I was on the floor for 2 days, and everyone agreed that that was horrible and I should not be allowed again. I was not gonna argue with them because that was horrible for me. So yeah, it was pretty smooth, but it could go so many different ways. I'm glad it didn't.
Yes. Well, thank you. That is amazing.
And well, yeah, Eli's and Urban Brewing are basically neighbors. So yeah.
Yeah, like literally neighbors. Like they share the same wall, they're right beside each other.
Yeah, it's like so long ago since you can picture it. But yeah, I think both of your presentations seem to have been so clear and answered all the questions that as in there's no questions if from your presentations unless people are just really shy. But yeah, I don't actually have any questions. I'm normally really bad. I'm normally just running around trying to make sure things are not burning up and going on fire, as Ladies knows, or you know you know yourself. So do you have kind of any other kind of announcements to share? I suppose we can end the session early as well, so we don't have to finish at half 7 on the dot. So I know, Lace, you have a lot of announcements. So Alina, do you have any kind of announcements or anything to share? Anything else that you want to share with the folks out there? No?
No, I'm good. Thanks everyone for joining us today and
Yeah.
leaving nice comments. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, if there's any kind of questions and stuff, I'm sure people will follow up and let me know, and I can follow up with you as well, and we can share. Thank you both for your time for this evening. It has been it's great to have such a variety of different talks, especially in the evening, especially after a big break like last month. It just felt like forever. But yeah, I think everyone has been really happy with the presentations, and so thank you again this evening, and thank you to everyone who joined us.
Thank you.
It has been our and thank you, Lay, for being my co-host, and also to Michael, who's actually hidden away. He's helping with moderation, making sure my stream is doing okay in a different room. So we will be back again next month, but so we're looking forward to that, and so I suppose we'll sign off, and I will cut to the ending slides. So have a good evening, everyone, and stay safe.